Everyone, welcome and thanks for joining me for another episode of my Aston Villa career on FIFA 16. Now, before I headed into our next game at home against Sunderland, I thought this was a pretty interesting headline. Has Benteke fitted into the Liverpool side since moving from Villa for the sum of 26.5? When asked about his performances, he replied, "I don't want to let anyone down. The club and the manager have being behind me 100%. So it seems as though things aren't going well for him at the moment. You can see on the league table there as well, after picking up our first 3 points away to Crystal Palace in the previous episode, we are up into 7th above Arsenal and Manchester United with 5 points to our name, and I was looking for another 3 points here in our next fixture at home against Sunderland. Still early days, of course, and that league table will look a whole lot different come the end of the season. But if we can continue with the high energy that we've been producing over the last 3-4 games, then I think we can certainly be looking towards the top half of the table. Now, after losing midweek and getting knocked out of the Capital One Cup by Barnsley, I thought I'd shuffle things around just a little bit more. I had the 4-4-2, I dropped Sanchez into that central defensive mid-role in support of the back four, and Jordan Ayew came into the side as well, with Charlie Austin starting once again for Aston Villa, who hasn't really had the best of starts at his new club yet. He's yet to score a goal in the Premier League for Villa. Sunderland came very close to opening up the scoring from that nicely taken set piece. Jermaine Defoe on the end of it with that stinging shot. It did go just over the crossbar, not really worrying Guzan at all, but they were stringing their passes together. They were doing so well, and they deserved the opening goal in the 34th minute by Jack Rodwell. It was poor defending really from Villa, and there's no point showing the highlight. It was a poor goal, but it was a goal nonetheless for Sunderland, as he just rolled that into the back of the net. So we had to build on our poor performance. We had to get better in the second half. I didn't bother changing the formation like I did in that one against Crystal Palace, as we were showing signs of quality. It was there, we just had to make sure we were finishing our chances, and we came out firing on all cylinders in the second half, as it would be our top goal scorer so far, Leroy Fer, with 3 goals to his name now. After that thumping equaliser, you can see Charlie Austin just dinks the ball over the top of the midfielder that was pursuing him, and Leroy Fer lets the ball bounce ever so slightly, hits it on the volley and finds that top right hand corner with ease. I mean, Pantilimon was brilliant throughout this game, but there was no stopping that at all. I did kind of worry that we were going to concede at this moment as well. Rodwell coming very close to getting his second goal of the game to put Sunderland in the lead again, but the ball hit the post. We came close there to putting ourselves in the lead from that corner with that header from Adama. Pantilimon using his height, and from that we just carried on firing away, trying to just get ourselves in the lead. It did get pretty frustrating towards the last couple of minutes of this game. Agbon Lahore with a few shots, a few chances of his own. He even had to come on to replace Charlie Austin, who I feel I'm not getting the best out of at the moment. I know it's still early days and everything, but at the moment it just feels like when I signed Harry Kane in my Manchester United career, I just can't get him scoring. So hopefully we can work on that, keep building towards the eventuality of him becoming a top goal scorer in this Villa side. He can do it, he has the quality, we just need to get there. It was on to transfer deadline day. I've made all my signings, bringing in Fer, Austin, Grenier and Fernandes on loan, spending 22.5, but you'll see that the likes of David De Gea going to PSG, that's a massive move there. Boateng to Chelsea for 43 million, Alaba to Juventus, of course, and Coutinho off to Atletico Madrid. So a lot of ins and outs in that summer transfer window, a lot of money spent as well. Can't wait for January, as I've got my eye on a few players. Whether I can put the deals together, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Of course, I had to get a bit of training in before our next game at the King Power Stadium against Leicester City. You can see that it's a pretty decent session with Fernandes and Jack Grealish doing really well there. We needed 3 points then in this one against Leicester City, who have been labelled as the comeback kings recently. Jamie Vardy starting up front. I know he's one of the main suggestions by quite a lot of you folks in the comments below for me to bring to Aston Villa. Should I go for Vardy when I get the opportunity, when I get the budget? He's certainly someone I'll be keeping a very close eye on. And speaking of transfers, Bruma, who Leicester signed on transfer deadline day, was dropped in at the deep end. He was starting this game at the back for Leicester. Such a physical player, someone not afraid to get stuck in when called upon. He's young still, got bags of potential. I think his overall rating can reach up to, is it 82, 83, somewhere around there. So an incredible signing for Leicester. Someone that could really become a first team player, maybe a future captain for this side on this career mode save. There was Villa's lineup. I stayed with that same formation that I used in the game at the start of this episode against Sunderland, that 4-4-2, but it looks a lot more defensive, but it's easy to hit the opposition on the counter with that. We saw a great opportunity here with Jack Grealish just managing to dink the ball over the top. Nothing on the end of it, but Bruma making his presence known early on in this game, clearing the ball away. Jack Grealish was doing well, really well down this left side for me, creating those chances for Villa, for my strikers Charlie Austin and Jordan Ayew. It was Kieran Richardson though, my left back for this game, who came very close. The ball taking a couple of deflections on that volley which you just saw, but Bruma was the standout player for Leicester in this game. He was doing so well for them at the back, but he couldn't put a stop to that header from Jolien Lescott from that corner in the 38th minute. He can't be everywhere at once, Bruma, but he certainly does make his presence known. We could have doubled our lead just before half time. Gill with a fantastic finesse shot. He had Schmeichel beat, but not the post, unfortunately. What a goal it would have been. In the second half, in the 61st minute, Kante pulls off such a worldie of a finish. He's always been a thorn in my side whenever I've come up against him on FIFA. Always scoring goals like that, I found. And what a finish. Took it in his stride perfectly. Just rolls the ball, lines up his shot. And Guzan, I'm very disappointed with his efforts. Well, there wasn't an effort at all. He just stood and watched the ball go behind him. It was end-to-end stuff with just minutes to go of the game. Sanchez had an opportunity at one end, then up the other. Drinkwater with that header. Could have easily gone in. I'm very surprised that Guzan actually saved that. But in the end, both teams held out for a 1-1 draw. Both teams seemed happy with that as well. We will get there eventually. I know we keep drawing at the moment, and we do have a few difficult tests coming up very soon. We've got the Midlands derby coming up next against the Baggies at West Brom at Villa Park. What a game that is going to be. And then after that, we've got the trip to Anfield against Liverpool. It's going to be immense the next episode. Hope you guys can join me for that. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.